Hey friend, welcome to a new day. This is Zen, and thank you for joining me on our journey, coming back from fear. Today is episode 18, and our subject is looking at the fear of losing a loved one, whether that is family, spouses, or friends, when we have to say goodbye. I can still remember the first time my heart felt broken. There was a sharp pain in my heart, and I wasn't sure how I was going to make it into the next moment. What a ride that was. It was my first relationship, and I wandered onto the internet to locate an email I had deleted because it had some information on it that I needed. I know, going onto the internet while you're in a relationship is like going down into a dark basement in a scary movie, because the electricity suddenly shut down and the fuse box is in the basement where that odd noise happens to be coming from. But regardless, I signed in and pulled up the account and went to recover the deleted emails. Sometimes when you look back on your life, you realize just how scripted some situations seem. As I was scanning for my specific email, my eyes zeroed in on some other emails that were between my partner and someone else. Well, yes, of course, I needed to open them up. It was part of the play. But as I read the intentions in the email, my heart sank, and I took on the victim role that I was so excited to perform. I printed out the condemning pages of the email, placed them strategically on the computer desk, turned off all the lights, and just had the TV on as I collapsed onto the couch in a devastated fashion. When my partner came home, he came down the stairs and reached the desk before reaching me. When it comes to the choices of fighting or fleeing, I tend to flee. I was already deep inside myself, and when he asked what this paper was all about, I ran to the bedroom crying and threw myself on the bed. He, of course, chased after me, and the drama unfolded for another couple of years. During that time, I sure did punish him. Those phrases were taught like, once trust is broken, it is hard to get it back. And, once a cheater, always a cheater. Those echoed through my fear ego. I learned so much about myself during that relationship and the 4 or so that followed that one. All my amazing teachers, always showing me what I needed to see about myself until I saw it. My fear ego was showing me what it felt like to think less of myself and to not respect myself. But how could my partners show me anything different than what I was feeling about myself? Really, how can anyone or any circumstance outside of ourselves show us anything different than what we are feeling and believing inside of us? Whether it is a relationship or marriage ending, someone passing away, or someone leaving our physical location to live a significant distance away, we all go through similar types of emotions. The feelings might differ slightly in the situation they are originating from, but they are all rooted in fear. The pierced heart or broken heart we feel is the fight or flight of fear kicking in. If you take time to examine what your heart feels like in these situations, it is the same feeling when someone jumps out and scares you, or you barely miss a deer while you're driving on the freeway. We feel a prick in our heart as it starts beating fast. The blood rushes from our brains, our breath shortens, we get an adrenaline rush, and we feel like something huge is about to attack us. When a relationship or marriage ends, our fear ego tells us that this circumstance defines us. It tells us that we might not be lovable and we may never find love again. The fears just keep stacking up and stacking up and stacking up as we see visions of being ignored and ostracized from our tribe of family and friends. And they might even mock and laugh at us in our little vision. We might even see the movie rolling in our heads of being thrown out of our homes and having to live on the streets, finally ending up dying alone. We are so talented on how quickly we are able to take on the role of a victim. It is really a part we thirsted to play when we were back home. Back there on the other side, everyone who comes back after living a life here just oozes with praise on the experiences we're able to play here, and they give the role of a victim 11 stars. In many societies, we're taught that when someone passes away, it is supposed to be a devastating thing. We are taught that if we have been with someone for so long, that they were half of us, and now that they are gone, we just don't know how we will survive another moment without them. Happiness will be something that we won't be able to find for some time as we work through our loss. We're instructed that we should feel like our lives suddenly become filled with holes and that the world is no longer what it was before the person passed. Sure, our lives may be impacted financially. Our routine will be thrown off and we'll need to adjust our lives. Throughout our lives, we have all these fears joining to create a false dependency on another person or persons outside of us. After all, if you lived in Sparta, they would celebrate your death if it was a good death against a worthy opponent. Other cultures truly celebrate someone's passing as the ending of one chapter and the beginning of a new one. Many people believe in life after death, and in their hearts believe that it is a place of unconditional love. So when someone passes, they are going back to paradise to reflect on the awesome performance they put on while they were here and to watch the movie that was created. It is the people that are left behind that can respond to the change in their lives in a positive way, a neutral way, or a dramatic, personal way. I can't believe they left me here all alone. They were my best friend, and now I don't have anyone to talk to. I won't have that same relationship with anyone else, and I'm going to miss it. You know, that list is quite long on the scripts we have been given to quote when we experience a loss in our lives. The thought that we need someone else to be complete, that we won't make it without someone else, that we need someone else to be our teacher, our guru, our leader, our supporter, these are all based in our fear ego. We come here to experience what it might feel like to be less, to fear not being enough. And you will hear me say quite a bit in these podcasts that we come here to experience what it might feel like to be less or devastated and to experience all the emotions rooted in fear and conditional love. I say might because at our core, who we really are is a powerful, supernatural being made from unconditional love. And in our true form, we can never, ever be less or abandoned or unlovable. And we have nothing to fear. In that form, we are perfect beings. And in our perfection, we wanted to create a place, a giant stage or a huge laboratory where we could put on a pretend act, a play filled with contrasts that would show us something different than we really are. Through our adventure here, we're able to understand more deeply who we are by seeing portions of who we are not. Through my many heartbreaks, yes, I did fall in love many more times and experience heartbreak many more times. And through those heartbreaks, I began to awaken. I began to become disappointed in external conditional love and became bored with feeling less. Sparks began to happen inside my heart, and as I turned inward, I began remembering the unconditional love that lived right here inside me. I didn't need to order out for fast food because I had a gourmet meal right here, right now in my own amazing kitchen. I had journaled for about 5 years, and each year I would look back over the words expressing how I was feeling before, during, and after relationships. During those times, I began to see patterns on how I was content being alone, and then suddenly meeting someone amazing. And then the journal entries, oddly, would become scarce while I was in a relationship. And then, bam, after all the relationships ended, tons of entries as I threw up on the pages with all my tears and emotions. I record these podcasts and I write my blogs and books not to communicate that we shouldn't be feeling emotions and experiencing all these dramatic events in our lives. It is our journey. It is why we are here. To think that we need to become something different than we are today, that is also the fear ego. Because we are beings before we come here, supernatural, powerful beings of unconditional love. We don't need to be anything else other than that. Perfection. When we step out of the womb, we are still in that state of being as we eat and poop and grow. Then around the terrible twos is when it hits, and there you have it. The battle between being and becoming begins. All the should-bes hit us, and we are inundated from all around us on who we should be and who we should become. But those are all conditions being placed on us from the outside world. Rules, rules, rules. Our fear ego does love our laws and trying to control everything outside of ourselves. We want to decide when someone leaves the movie or enters the movie and what they all do during the movie. But this movie is a giant improv. We have a basic theme we want to perform and watch, but that's about it. When you add 1 billion directors and producers to the movie, it becomes what our world is today. A beautiful chaos. No one ever really dies in this movie. They go on to other movies or they sneak back, as another character maybe. We might think the story is ruined because a character is killed off, but how do we know how the movie ends? A world full of fear ego movie critics. Yay! Maybe we should just wait and see. Next episode, we will talk about the power of adjectives, the words we use to describe the world around us, ourselves and others. They tell us where we're at in our story. Until then, take a look at the scary stories you have been telling yourself. Ask yourself if it is really true that you need someone in your life to complete you. Or maybe ask yourself, what is the true impact of external things on your internal life? Every moment in this movie is brought to you by unconditional love or the fear of losing conditional love. Remember, you are a superstar.